You've been waiting in line for almost an hour. The air is cold enough to nip. Your toes are numb. And the only thing that's keeping you sane is a cup of hot tea that wraps around your hands. You're chatting with friends, the kind of giddy anticipation that comes before a concert. Then out of nowhere, somebody pushes past you. No, excuse me. No, sorry. Just an elbow to the side and the screech of her perfume cutting the air. That's when I knew. If karma wasn't going to cut itself tonight, maybe I'd invite it. If you ever had someone push past you like you weren't there, hit that like button. Because this tale shows that sometimes one accident can be better at giving a piece of your mind than any lecture ever could. It was one of those ideal Seattle evenings in late fall. The air cool, the streets wet from an earlier drizzle, the city alive with energy. My friends Jess and Maya and I were finally going to see the Northern Echo, a group we've been tracking since college. We had it all planned. Eaten dinner early, parked blocks from the venue to beat the rush, and waited in line nearly an hour prior to when the gates opened. And although the wind was cutting enough to sting, the atmosphere was terrific. People talking, laughing, the aroma of pretzels and hot beverages wafting from food carts in the vicinity. To get warmed up, we each had a paper cup of boiling chamomile tea, the kind that makes your glasses steam up and your palms feel like miniature furnaces. We lingered there, drinking and swaying to the muffled sound check seeping out of the building. Everyone was just doing their job, waiting, respectfully, patiently, that is, until she walked in. I didn't see her at first, but I heard her. High-pitched laughter, the sound of heels clicking on the pavement, the smell of vanilla perfume that pierced the cold. She was in a group of 3, all of them dressed up to the nines like they were going to walk a red carpet, not be waiting in line with freezing people. And at the front of the group was she. Let's name her Sabrina. You know the kind. Every step is a statement. Every look is a judgment. Perfect hair, perfect coat, and no concept whatsoever what was going on around her. She pushed through the line, giving perfunctory, snatched at excuse me-s that were apologetic sounding more out of politeness than actual guilt. At our very group, she didn't even bother faking it. She pushed aside Jess, elbowed Maya's shoulder, and leaned in against me so hard I could feel the strap of her backpack pressing into my ribs. I stood there for a moment, tea shaking in my cup. Hey, there's a line, I said, attempting to stay calm. She turned, smirked, and said, then move faster. That tone, that smug, careless tone, it was like she'd flipped a switch inside me. Jess muttered, just let it go. But my patience and my warmth had both run out. The next 20 minutes felt like a silent battle. Every few moments, Sabrina inched forward, using every shuffle and shoulder as an excuse to gain another inch. She wasn't cutting in. She was taking it down. And each time she did, I gripped my cup that little bit harder. Steam curled up like smoke from a fuse. I could feel that combination of annoyance and incredulity, that same uselessness you experience when someone's being rude, and you can't do anything about it without being made out to be the bad guy. But then the crowd shifted, slowly like a moving wave, toward the gate, bodies pushing, people shouting. And that's when she made her move. One final push. She pushed past me again, almost on top of my boot. That was it. That was the breaking point. I stared down at my cup, half full, steam dancing on the cold, then back at her beige designer coat, clean, untouched by life. And all at once, I wasn't quite so cold anymore. When she attempted to edge past me, I allowed my equilibrium fail. A little tiny, realistic stagger, a sufficient amount to tip the cup forward. A perfect splash, warm, not hot, curved through the air and landed squarely across her sleeve. She gasped, whirling round, eyes wide. Oh no! I exclaimed, my tone full of feigned panic. I'm so sorry it's so crowded. The expression she gave me could have melted steel, but she couldn't substantiate anything. Not with everyone shoving us around, cups and jackets colliding in all directions. Watch out! She snapped, smoothing out the tea stain. Completely. I replied, my voice as sweet as honey. Crowds are insane, aren't they? She snorted, turned around, and lingered behind me. For the first time that night, she ceased attempting to push ahead, stopped acting like rules didn't bind her. And for the rest of the 10 minutes, she just stood there, quiet, fuming, just like my tea. When we finally arrived at the gate, my friends were struggling so hard not to giggle. Just leaned in and whispered, "Total accident, huh?" I smiled without glancing at her. The most accidental accident I've ever had. The music was thumping inside, lights strobing, electricity in the air. And who do I see over in the next room? Sabrina, in the bathroom line, frantically blotting at her sleeve next to a hand dryer. Her once flawless confidence? Kaput. Her designer jacket? Tea-stained. And me? I was sipping on a fresh cup, grinning from ear to ear like I hadn't done in weeks. That night, I learned something. Karma doesn't always come crashing down with thunder and lightning. Sometimes it's subtle, warm, and pleasantly wet. Because when you make people feel invisible, eventually, someone will remind you you're not untouchable. I didn't hurt her, didn't humiliate her, just balance the scale. One small splash at a time. If the story gave you that tiny satisfied smile, go ahead and hit that like button and ask me in the comments, what's the most harmless, perfect dose of karma you've ever seen? Because remember, some lessons don't have to be shouted. Sometimes they simply need to spill.